Hi there, I'm Stacy, the encaustic mixed media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. Morning all, in the studio this morning. Yesterday I ordered a bunch of paint for hopefully this new and upcoming series, but since none of that paint will probably be here for a few days, today I am not painting, but instead I'm going to work on, I have an idea rolling around in my head here. So I'm going to work on drawing some of these American beech leaves. We'll see how far I get on that, and that will determine whether or not I do another tree drawing of more leaves or not. But that's the plan this morning. In here bright and early because it is going to be a bit hot today, and while I do have the air conditioning unit out there, it's nice just to get in here early in the morning and get going on things. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. And my plan is to pull out the leaf jelly plate prints that I made, I think it was last year sometime. So my plan is to pull out those and either trace some of the patterns from there or sketch from those jelly plate prints. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do it, but that is my plan as far as how I'm gonna get these sketches and drawings done, which is a tip for you all. If you're an artist but you don't consider yourself a person that sketches or draws, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You can take an image that, of course, you have taken a photo of. I wouldn't copy other people's images, but you can take an image you've taken a photo of. You can take, like I'm using these jelly plate prints, you can take another painting and just use those images off of that, especially since they're your own images. So little tip, if you're not into really fine detailed drawings, you're still an artist, you can still make things. Just use what you've already drawn, use what you already have. Alright, these quick tracings are pretty much done, and I thought I would show you kind of my preliminary plan with them, which is, this is a 8x8 panel, and several videos ago I demonstrated smooth encaustic surfaces on this panel, but I think it's an 8x8, so it's decent size, not real big, not real small. And I thought I would perhaps maybe try to arrange some of these leaves onto this panel. So my preliminary ideas for this painting series for these 5 trees is to do a painting of just the leaves, a painting of the entire tree, and then maybe kind of more of an abstract-ish painting of these. Maybe I don't know how many abstract paintings I'm going to do, if I'm going to do like 2 big ones or what, but that's kind of my preliminary ideas behind this painting series. So for the leaf paintings, I think I have enough 8x8 panels. I have to look in my box of panels here, but I think I have enough 8x8 to do all 5 trees in these 8x8 panels of the leaves. So I'm gonna kind of just try to arrange some of these leaves on this panel, and then when the paint colors come in, I'll show you more of my plan for these leaf paintings. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of do some rearranging, and I might take these leaves, scan them into, or these leaf sketches, tracings, scan them into my computer and maybe shrink some down in size, which is the other nice thing about having a computer, having a scanner. And also another firm belief of mine is to use your drawings, scan them in, scale them down, you know, that type of thing in the computer, and then print them out and use them in your art. So I don't know, just kind of a fun little tip if you're not into drawing 55 different scales of leaves. So a little tip for you. Maybe perhaps something like this for the layout. I don't know. I think it still needs tweaked a bit, but kind of get the idea of what I'm thinking anyways. I think. I think you get the idea of what I'm thinking. All right, all. I'm gonna call it today in the studio. Matt just texted me, and we actually have a visitor coming later this afternoon. They're just kind of swinging through town, so I'm gonna call it in the studio, go do a couple things over in the pole barn. I'm gonna try to get these scanned in, and I'm guessing I'll probably pick you back up when the paint comes in. Maybe sooner than that, I'm not sure, but for you, it'll just be a few seconds, like I always say. So yeah, we'll see you then. So today's color of choice is a cadmium red, and like with all store-bought encaustic paint, especially encausticos and RNF, I definitely mix in some encaustic medium with it. And you can mix in quite a bit of encaustic medium and the pigment is still really strong, really pigmented. So it's just a great way to make those paints stretch and make your dollars stretch a bit. And my goal for today is to just get this cadmium red down onto this panel and pretty much call it for the day in the studio. Now I did run a little low on encaustic medium, so I stuck another block in the encaustic medium. I'm just gonna let that melt down in the pan. That way, next time I come into the studio, it's already kind of melted in the pan. I mean, I'm gonna turn the pan off, obviously, but those big blocks take a little while to melt down. And then once they're in the pan, because it's a thinner layer, it melts down quicker. Not that you needed to know any of this information, but I just thought I'd tell you. So anyways, I'm gonna get this red coat on this panel, and then later on today, I actually have somebody coming over to go through my website with me, a friend of ours. So fingers crossed that by the time this video comes out, the website will be updated. It has been a process, but at any rate, I'm gonna get a coat of this red paint down and probably put you on time lapse for that, because it's just not super exciting. All right, so I'm pretty happy with how this first layer is on here, this first red layer. So like I said, I'm gonna call it for in the studio today, head back over to the Barn Dominium, go through my website one more time before I go through it again with a professional. So that's exciting, and I'll probably pick you back up tomorrow. I'm thinking for the next layer that's gonna go down on this painting. Good morning all, in the studio, and I did a quick image transfer on that red panel earlier, and now I'm just trying to decide on what a wax tip, what encaustic tip I want to use to draw these leaves in. So yeah, trying to decide on that. So I'm going to pull out the big sketchbook and then take a look because in there I have examples of what each tip, like how small each tip writes, which is a lovely reason to have a big sketchbook, especially if you don't use these tools on a daily basis, which I don't. So I'm going to pull that out and yeah, see what I can find here. All right, I think I've decided I'm going to use the Encaustic batik writer and the kistka, I believe it's number 4 tip, a combination of the two, and I think that'll work. So I think that's what I've decided I'm going to use. And oh, I should show you, I already have the green color picked out, the very, very bright green color picked out for this painting. So yeah, let's get started. That I would also show you, I have this metal paint scraper, and I basically just put the end onto the griddle that is on to heat the end of it up, and that way I can cut through this wax, cut it into teeny tiny little pieces to put into these tiny little writers. Alright, I'm done using this tool, so I'm going to clean it out with just some, it's called brush cleaner, but it's just pretty much soy wax. And I'll show you, it comes in these little tiny little granule things. So I'm just going to take and put some into the top of this to, whoops, sorry about that, blocked your view there. To just get this all cleaned out and get the green out so that the next time I go to use it, you know, there's not green paint in it. So that's what I'm going to do here. And basically you want to make sure that, like, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that wax is now pretty clear that's in there. Can't really, there we go. So that's, you know, basically what I'm looking for here to make sure this is all nice and cleaned out. I wanted to share something else that I know I've shared in the past, but this particular tool, the Encaustic writing, the batik writer, just goes on the end of this, screws into it, but it comes with a dial for temperature regulation, and I just have it taped where I know I need it. But this other tool that I'm about to use does not have a built-in temperature control or a dial on it. So if you're using a tool, a heated tool, without a temperature control, you need one of these. And it goes all the way up to max and then down. And I know this tool I need between about 75 and 50. I'm going to try it at 75 first to see what happens. But if you don't control the temperature on a lot of these tools, you will smoke the wax, ruin the wax, and also it will be bad for your health. So if you're going to get a heating tool that doesn't have a temperature regulator on it, you can purchase a separate one, and then the end of it just plugs into it, and then of course this plugs into a regular old outlet. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you if you're interested in something like this. I wanted to mention two things that happens with this smaller tip that doesn't typically happen with the larger batik encaustic wax writer. And that is, it can get clogged, and I don't know if you caught that in the time lapse, but I have this little tool for lack of a, I'll flip the camera around and show you this better. But it basically has a bunch of wires hanging out of it. And because it's such a small tip, you need a really thin wire to unclog it. And I just stick the wire up into the bottom of that tip or down into it, and it seems to clear it out nicely. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. And then the second thing is that little writer picks up the wax on the background. So I don't know if you caught that, but I end up wiping that tip off several times because it kind of, as it goes along the edge of that red background, it picks up some of the red. And I think it's just because it's a smaller tip, and it absorbs some of that red wax, or melts some of that red wax. That's what I should say. It melts some of that red wax as it goes along, and then of course that red wax then sticks to the tip or whatever background you've got. But so you want to have a paper towel handy just to keep wiping that off. And like I said, for some reason the bigger encaustic tip doesn't do that. And I also find with the smaller tip that I have to kind of, I tap it rather than just drag it along the surface, and that does seem to help with the background wax or the red wax not getting on the tip as much. It seems like if I drag it along that surface more, it soaks up that background wax. So just a really light touch is needed with this small encaustic kistka writer. It's basically a Ukrainian egg tool. So at any rate, I just thought I'd mention that. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you this. I think it's done. I might come back and do a few things, but I think it's done. So let me flip the camera around and show you the painting. All right, there you have it. I think, like I said, I think it's done. I'm going to leave the blue tape on here for now. And, but yeah, I'm really happy with how it looks. I think it came out really nicely. I don't know, maybe I'll add another leaf up here, but I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away. Oh, and I should say that you don't have to fuse with either one of these tips, which is really nice. So you don't have to take the torch or anything like that back over this now. All right, and I think this is where I'm going to leave you with this one. I hope you did enjoy the video, learned a few tips and tricks. If you did, if you could please give it a thumbs up. It truly, truly does help me out. If you have any questions about the process, definitely let me know down there below in the comments. give me a shout out and just say hey if you'd like to. I'd love to hear what you're painting, what you're working on, what you thought of the video, any of the above items. So yeah, thank you so much for coming along. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.